Hi there everyone, why does it still hurt? Welcome back to On the Flip Side. My name is Adam Shawwalker, your host, and today we're going to be checking out this new project from Black Thought and producer Danger Mouse, Cheat Codes. I've been slowly working my way through a lot of East Coast rap lately, a lot of MF Doom, lots of Madlib, RZA, other offshoots of Wu-Tang. So it really feels like this album came out just at the right time for me. I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to a lot of rap, but my appreciation has been steadily growing more and more as years go by. I've been especially enjoying 2005's The Mouse and the Mask from Danger Mouse and MF Doom. That's the collaboration where they use a ton of samples from classic era Adult Swim cartoons. So I'd been listening to that album over and over again, and while this new album, Cheat Codes, is a much more serious, much more grounded project, it captures the exact same vibe at a lot of points, especially on the track Belize with its posthumous MF Doom feature, which on my first listen gave me goosebumps from head to toe. And that's obviously only one of the highlights here, but it just feels like so much care and respect was put into that feature. I mean, it feels like there could have been more to Doom's bars, but that absence where it feels like it could have kept going almost makes that track more powerful. The impact of that loss is just astronomical. And that is one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it first. It's just like very much on the mind with this project. Anyway, enough about MF Doom for now. The good tracks on this album are excellent. They are very high tier. Aquamarine has this fantastic beat with this cascading sample that almost sounds kind of like it could have been pulled from maybe, I don't know, House of the Rising Sun, but I'm not quite sure. Regardless, the flow and mood of this track are excellent, playing with a comparison between the Dawn of Man and Black Thought's Path Through Life. And I love the Michael Kiwanuka feature for the chorus. It's really low-key and moody. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. The title track, Cheat Codes, introduces one of the biggest themes on the album that pops up on most of the tracks here. That is just the everyday struggle of Black Americans, comparing the day-to-day life of an Afro-American to a video game so difficult that the only way to win is to use some kind of cheat code to finally just get ahead. And this idea is toyed a little bit more with on the next track, The Darkest Part, but it's reframed here as a way to kind of criticize the raw and brutal modern musical landscape and how it just generally affects musicians who are in the process of trying to create, not only to make something wonderful, but to survive at a base level. And there's a deep dig at how musicians, especially Black musicians, are taken for a ride and exploited so completely that their wings are essentially clipped, and the biggest escape, the quickest escape, the easiest route to freedom is just in temporary relief like drugs. The track Because, again, reframes this cruelty of American culture into a much broader scope. And while this song is about a lot of things, it is not just about the music industry. It's not just about African Americans. It's a top-to-bottom intersectional critique of the system as a whole. Strangers with A$AP Rocky and Run the Jewels has a few different angles as far as any messages go. It's a bit of a criticism of like keyboard activism, or at least that's kind of what I'm getting from the Black Thought verse. As far as the A$AP Rocky and Run the Jewels verses go, surprisingly enough, there isn't as much of a focus one way or the other. Still a pretty solid song that's catchy, overall a good feature. As far as other tracks here that are pretty good, I do like Saltwater. The Conway the Machine feature is pretty good. The second verse with its samurai samples and references to Akira Kurosawa remind me of the last Denzel Curry record, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, and that whole track actually has a pretty similar vibe to that whole album. I do think the opening track sometimes is pretty good. It is a bit of a slow burn as far as openers go, but I do like the sample that they went with. Wasn't really the biggest fan of No Gold Teeth, which is kind of a set of thoughts on Black Thought's rise to relevancy and popularity over the past few years and kind of how he's just generally been enjoying himself. Identical Deaths also lands on a bit of a weak foot for me. I do like some of the vibraphone samples, but this track kind of feels a bit like an interlude with how it flows. I do like the airport announcement samples though. It feels kind of transitory. It's kind of a good touch. And even the songs that don't really land as well for me personally don't deviate so far from the path as to really hurt the flow of the album or feel like they don't belong. It's still a really cohesive project from top to bottom. And as a whole, I don't think this album is really going to make a best of the year list for me, but there are some songs here that are absolutely best of the year material for sure. Really loving Belize, really loving Aquamarine. A lot of these songs are still growing on me for sure, so we will see. Anyway, I'm thinking Cheat Codes is a 7. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of this album in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe. Check out my Instagram, my Reverb, and my Depop. Links to those are in the description below. Thank you all so much again, and we'll see you on the flip side.